Oh, the places you'll go. That's the theme at our church auction this year. I'm Bob, and I wanted to share with you a very special recipe because we're doing this Dr. Seuss themed event. And one of the very popular books, actually, it's the fourth most popular children's book ever, is Green Eggs and Ham. And you know the story behind that book? Really interesting. His publisher said, write me a book with 50 words or less. And it turned out to be the fourth most popular best-selling, I'm talking to Anne, by the way, children's book ever. It's over 6 million entries that return when you look for recipe green eggs and ham. Of course, you got all the regulars, Rachel Ray and Dean and, the Food Network and all the rest of those people are in there making green eggs and ham. However, this is a little bit different. I did find a little variation in this recipe, but most of the recipes that you'll find in there use artificial coloring, and I don't think that's really okay. We need to be using green eggs, except those are kind of hard to find too. So if you can't find green eggs at your store, I guess the best eggs would be Andrea's eggs or some fresh out of the coop eggs. But if you can't find those, find you some good organic eggs. They probably won't be green at the store, and if they are, you may not want to buy them anyway. So you use regular eggs. So these are the things we're going to be working with. Now, ham is a really important part of this. Now, you could do ham a lot of ways. You could get a regular sliced ham, cut it up into little things, and put it in your skillet, or you could do what I do, which is really cheating, and I don't recommend people eating a lot of bacon, but occasionally you can eat a little bit of bacon. So we're going to have a little bit of bacon today. This you can get at Jewel. It's their house brand, very inexpensive. You can actually keep this frozen and use it directly frozen into the pan to make this recipe. Now, if we're not going to use food coloring, how do we get green eggs? Well, the way we do it is we use spinach, organic baby spinach. Warm your pan, not really hot. We're going to cook this very slowly. We don't want the bacon to be overcooked. Bacon comes in slabs like this from your package, so you can just pick those up. And you can use it whether it's frozen or if it's at room temp or whatever, it doesn't matter. But if it's frozen, you can go a little bit faster because you won't have to wait for defrost. But all you do is trim it up, and you can be as creative as you like at this point, as Dr. Seuss. After all, you could carve it into figures or whatever you like to do, but it just takes a minute like this to chop up your bacon. And all we're going to do with the bacon is just let it get to a little point of crispiness, and it will also let a little of that bacon juice out there so that we can cook our eggs in that. There are times when you may not want to use bacon, or you may not want to have any ham in your green eggs at all, in which case we would recommend that you use coconut oil, because you can put a little bit of that in before you cook your eggs. In this case, the bacon will supply the fat that we're going to use for our cooking, so we'll let that happen. We use like this size. It's just the maybe 4-cup quart size. I'm not sure what it is. We take our organic spinach over here. This is available most stores in the neighborhood. Jewel around here has it. The Chicago area, you can find it, I'm sure, a lot of places, health food stores, etc. So you put in about this much, which is maybe a good cup of spinach. Then we're going to put our eggs on top of that. If you crack it on the long side, it won't cause a lot of little pieces to go into your container. And most of us were taught to crack eggs on a corner, but what it does is it shatters the egg a little bit, so that's why you get a lot of those little calcium pieces, I guess you would call. So if you put the blender top on, correct side up, of course, helps. And then this just goes onto the bullet like so. We like to let it go because you want it to really kind of get all of those nutrients out of those. You're going to eat them anyway, but sometimes when you break the cell wall of something, it makes it a little bit more bioavailable, and we're all for that, right? But you see, we're already essentially done, except for just putting a little heat on these green eggs. So we'll let that settle in the container a little bit. Take it apart. I think we're ready to go. The bacon is smelling really, really, really good. And in goes the green. And look how green that is. Is that awesome? We're talking green eggs here. You want to keep it moving. Actually, we're breaking some rules here. If you look at the real fancy chefs, They say don't ever put your scrambled eggs in a blender. You want to blend them and can them carefully by hand because you want them to end up very, very smooth and soft. It continues to cook after you turn the heat off, so you actually need to just get your practice down with these so that you turn them off just a little bit before you're totally finished. And we're looking pretty good right now, so what I'm going to do is to get a plate. You can decorate these, and if I were being even more careful, I could arrange them. And you can put your usual breakfast items around it. Maybe some tomato, little half tomatoes would look really good around this. But there you go, it's green eggs and ham. We have to taste our food so that you'll know we're not just making up something fake here. But Ann and Buddy are watching today, so I'm going to ask Ann to do the honors and taste test our green eggs and ham. I know Buddy would volunteer to do it too.
Would definitely want to
He's
be
in the kitchen anytime we are
tasting up the
ready
green
to
eggs
bite.
and ham. Let's see. Mmm. That's good. Mm-hmm.
That's a good thing for you to say right now.
Very good.
So that's how you make green eggs and ham. It takes just a few minutes. It's really a lot of fun. It's simple enough. You could even get kids involved in doing it if you want to play that game. But the thing about this green eggs and ham is it's healthy. This is spinach and good for you eggs all in one bite. Great breakfast.
Thanks, Bob.
You're welcome, Ann.